Hello, we are part of the Down the Hobbit Hole blog team. We are super excited to be talking to you all tonight and to be talking to each other about what's coming up next with Marvel and Marvel Burnout. Are you there with me? Because I am there. So first, let's talk about kind of why so many of us are in Marvel Burnout, how many movies there were in 2021 to make up for the pandemic break.
Yeah. So we have the numbers here. So in 2021, there were 4 movies from July to December, which is a lot in and of itself. And then throughout the year, from January to December, there were 5 TV shows. And then 2022, we have actually slowed down with 3 movies and 3 TV shows, which still, I've heard a lot of people still saying they still are burnt out and tired. What about you, Kate? How are you currently on your burnout status?
I'm feeling okay with it, but I think that's partially because I've kept up as things have been released. I started in the MCU a lot later than a lot of people, largely because I was 3 when the first Iron Man movie came out. Don't know that would have been age appropriate.
Maybe not.
So I've had to do a lot of catch up since then, but I've been caught up for several years now, and I've been watching things as they come out. So I haven't felt as much burnout because I don't feel the need to go back and rewatch stuff as much or catch up at any point. But I could see where someone who isn't as up to date or has a few projects they've missed might feel like it's too much. I have to have watched all these things in order to watch the next big thing that's coming out.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah,
the universe just keeps expanding, which makes sense. It's part of how they do it, but the different
multiverses.
We
are in the multiverse saga now.
So the multiverse saga just lost me a little bit, and then it just the universe got so big, and the TV shows I think were fun, but also that kind of like was their like toe dip into not as family friendly content. Like it started, or more mature content
specifically. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that really hit the fan with Moon Knight.
Although I think Loki was the first one where they tried and they were like, hey, let's, we're gonna throw a little more violence in here, a little more intensity, and see if people still keep up and if it's still received as well. And it was received really well. So and then Moon Knight was really intense.
I will say for me, Moon Knight is the first one that felt more intense than the average Marvel movie. I still don't feel like Loki is I feel like that's the same amount of intensity that you'd get from your average Marvel movie.
I think it also has a lot to do with tone. Loki had a much lighter tone continually throughout the series. Versus Moon Knight was a heavier series from day one, even though they cut out some of the most bloody sequences where it's like they switch and then you don't see it. It had a greater weight to it than any fight scene in Loki ever did.
Absolutely.
And part of the draw of Marvel is that you got to bring your kids to the Avengers movies, and it wasn't you could bring your 10 or 12-year-old without worrying about a majority of the content. It was you knew what you were getting, and or for the most part.
I feel like that really stopped at Infinity War. I think Infinity War is the movie where a lot of parents had to go, oh no, all of them are dead. I don't know, I want my kid to see that. But also, I mean, it's also arguably one of Marvel's best movies of all time, like to many people.
But I can't think of any Marvel series that I'm like, ooh, that'd be a great one to watch with your kids. Outside of Mrs. Marvel.
Miss Marvel would be great.
Miss Marvel was a really good one.
I think WandaVision would be. I mean, depending on the age of your kid.
Yeah.
But a 10 to 12-year-old, I'd probably watch.
I thought there were parts of it that were just a little too creepy, too Twilight Zone.
I'd watch Twilight Zone with a 10 or 12-year-old, so that's probably the difference here. So, and so to go into that, so we talked about how many there are. So in 2022, there's only 3 movies and 3 shows. So they actually have given us a little bit of a lighter scheduled. In 2023, we still have 3 movies, which that's staying the same, but we do have 5 shows planned for 2023. That being Secret Invasion, Echo, Loki season 2, Ironheart, and Agatha, Coven of Chaos.
Oh, I'm excited about Agatha getting her own series. Okay, here's a question. What movie are you actually super excited about it coming out?
Good question. Honestly, I've been more excited for the shows that are coming out than I am the movies.
Okay.
I am excited for the movies. I'm really excited to see Thunderbolts, which doesn't come out till the end of phase 5.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for Echo. I loved her character in Hawkeye, and I've been looking forward to her getting her own series. And
I agree. I think that's going to be great.
And I'm also really excited for the revival of Daredevil. I love Daredevil. It's one of my favorite MCU content things.
Yes.
And so I'm excited to see what they do with it again.
That's going to be great.
Absolutely.
Oh, so I heard, I was watching Jimmy Fallon with Jim from The Office.
John Krasinski.
Thank you. I was watching John Krasinski talk about, and Jimmy Fallon was like, how much can you tell us about Fantastic Four? And he's like, how much do you know? Because I don't know anything.
and there's at least a chance that he is not coming back for that role.
Yeah. I think there's a solid chance that he won't be, which
I really want him to, but
we could go in a whole video just about that. But
I want him to be in that role, and I want Emily Blunt to be Mrs.
Storm.
Sue Storm. That would be so cool. I would flip. That would be fantastic. Pun not intended, but
okay, end of video. Talk to y'all later. So for me, in terms of movie, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, I'm genuinely so excited for that.
I cried at the preview.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
In the worst possible way, because like I'm just going to cry so much during that movie. But I'm also
I'm super excited for her. I think she's gonna really shine in the role.
And I'm just really curious where they actually take that story.
I'm really hopeful it'll be Nakia, but I don't know that they'll go that route. Or Okoye, I think would be really cool too, because she's such a talented fighter. But I recognize the power in having Shuri carry on T'Challa's legacy too. So
because I've read a few of the books like by Nick Stone, and it's like the only problem I have with Shuri is she's always this underestimated girl throughout every book, even though she proves herself in every single book. She's always this underestimated, treated like a young kid. And I'm like, I love Shuri. I don't want that anymore. I want awesome, full potential Shuri just to take over the reigns. So we can see her shine.
Hey, did y'all feel like the Guardians of the Galaxy were kind of passed over in the latest Thor movie? Because the previews definitely made it seem like they were going to be in a majority of the movie, and it sounds like they weren't.
I felt that they were, but I didn't mind it because I didn't think they fit the movie. I think that they got pigeonholed a little bit into having them in the movie, and I thought it was fine that they left.
And I think they did it very naturally of, hey, I need to go do this, y'all need to go do that. That's fine. I think,
are they going to find Gamora? Is that what they're doing?
That is what they're supposed to be doing. They didn't really allude. That was one of those weird things. That's one of those weird things that in the movie they didn't. In Thor: Love and Thunder, I thought they should have like focused on that at least a little bit, saying that that's what they're going to be doing because that's where we left them. But it is what it is.
You know, so, different directors, different. Doesn't always align perfectly. Yeah,
and I mean, on the bigger scale, just with having an Avengers movie announced, let alone 2 Avengers movies announced, I am really excited, 2 kind of scared why they are so close together on the time.
Kang Dynasty is gonna kill us all. I can already tell.
There's
no way that movie does not end tragically.
And I'm curious how they're gonna flip it, whether it's gonna be if it's still, I think for a time it was pretty solidly thought that it was just going to be the new young Avengers crew. But then I think kind of through the Spider-Man upheaval, do we own Spider-Man? Do we not? Is he coming back for, you know, 6 more movies? Is he not?
Spider-Man's not a young Avenger in the comics, is he? Or am I wrong about that?
I thought
I
thought he was going to lead them. Like he was.
That's more like Kate Bishop.
Like the Iron Man of that group.
Yeah, be the
That makes
Iron Man of that group. So like not be the leader of the group, but like
kind of the Nick Fury.
Yeah, the overseer.
Gotcha. Absolutely, yeah.
So going back to the Marvel Burnout. So Kate, we kind of talked a little bit about what you have done to kind of counter that, and it's be really behind, have to do a whole bunch of movie watching and then just be caught up and it's fine. Are you doing anything to counteract that?
I'm still hanging in there. I'm still excited about some of these movies, but it's no longer a thing to me where I am like midnight premiere. And part of that is age.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it still. There's still being new stories to tell and to hear and to listen to. But I'm not obsessed with, and it's not that I just can't wait for these stories to come out. There are a few that I'm still like heavily invested in that I really want to, you know, to pan out and to.
And I think that's a big thing for you is you're not going into it with a completionist mentality. Like you're fine that you haven't watched Thor: Love and Thunder. You'll probably watch that when it comes on Disney. You're like, especially after Moon Knight, I think you're going to be a lot more careful about which shows you even watch at this point.
And here's the other thing. I like my happily ever afters. And DC has always been awful at that. And Marvel has always been, okay, I shouldn't say always. In the past decade, Marvel has been really excellent about that. DC has been really awful about that. And so I have been much more excited about Marvel movies. And I don't feel that way anymore. I'm not assured of going to a Marvel movie and having any happily ever after for any of the characters. And part of that is like, you know, the deconstruction of the hero character and
it's storytelling. I mean, I don't think we could get 30 movies into the MCU without some change of that formula. Because
and they're changing their story formula consistently.
Absolutely. And that's what keeps you engaged, is not knowing always what to expect.
That's true.
But I will say that's not what keeps you engaged. And I think that's a big part of this is you genuinely get uninterested when you learn that there's a possibility that it doesn't end well.
One other thing I'd add about the formula changing is when you look at the comics, different comics have a different level of maturity expected of its readers, a different tone, a different setting. And I think it's important that for a lot of those characters, those are integral parts of how you have to tell that character's story. It doesn't make sense to have a lighthearted Jessica Jones story. It doesn't fit the character. It wouldn't make sense. And so, but that means that you do have to have stories that don't have happily ever afters. That does mean you have to change the formula for each character.
Oh, whoa. Is Jessica Jones and all of those, are those Marvel?
They are. So this Daredevil that's coming out in spring 2024 is Charlie Cox's Daredevil from the Netflix show. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kay, but we don't currently know if any of the other Netflix Marvel characters are going to be moving along, except for Kingpin. He's already there too.
Yeah, that is true. We also don't know for sure that this Daredevil is the Daredevil from that show. We know it's played by the same actor. We don't know for sure whether all the things that happened in that series are true for this character. We don't know.
That's true.
I had completely forgotten about those series because those were super intense.
It hasn't been confirmed whether or not those characters are going back. I know that several of those actors have signed contracts. None of the big ones from any of those series, but Davy Johnson signed a contract coming back from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so there's
Okay.
a couple characters
Okay.
that are coming back from that era of MCU television. So I
Interesting.
think there is a potential. I don't know that they're going to bring Iron Fist back. I think he's probably the one that's getting the axe.
I think if they don't bring him back, people are going to be okay with that. So
I don't think anyone's going to bring out their pitchforks and be like, how dare you?
I'd love for them to bring back his mentor because she was awesome. But
Yes.
I liked all the tertiary characters in that show. Did not really care about the main one. So
yeah. So I hope that they bring back Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, but so far it hasn't been confirmed. The most recent thing that anyone's heard from them was they were wearing Disney Plus hats together when the shows first came on Disney Plus. So that's kind of like the last anything. And then also Elder Henson, who played Foggy in the Daredevil series, was recently announced that he had a contract with, he just signed a contract with Disney.
Because I do think they even alluded to Foggy in, it might have been Spider-Man No Way Home. I think they said like Foggy and Murdoch or something like that because they're a team.
Right. Yeah,
so
Nelson and Murdoch.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back and look now. I have it on my laptop. I'm gonna go find it. But there's been no word about Deborah Ann Woll, who plays Karen, coming back. So I hope she does. She's one of my favorite characters.
She was great.
But,
yeah.
Anyway,
that was so good. And Born Again is also just I've just
it's a fantastic.
It's so good.
Yeah. No, it's great. Yeah.
They have started to branch out into younger and younger content and younger superheroes, more so DC than Marvel, because
I mean, you've got Spidey and His Amazing Friends. I feel like that's like the youngest, which is Marvel.
I was thinking that was you're right.
Okay.
So that's so that's a Disney Junior show specifically for. But I was thinking there's on Netflix, maybe not. Don't quote me on that. The Supergirls show with the
that is on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah. And that's pretty great. And I have not watched that, but it would not surprise me if Squirrel Girl was a character on that. I definitely want to watch that and review it eventually, but it just hasn't.
Yep. So I think that kind of covers it. So obviously, let's do this. Out of the entire list, what is the one show you are most looking forward to at this point?
At this point, it has to be Echo. I am so excited for that show. I haven't read any of her comics, but they're on my list to buy. I now live near one of the biggest comics bookstores in the world.
Nice.
Pretty exciting. So that's next on my list once I get through Hawkeye. So very excited for Echo.
What about you?
Done.
What about you?
Personally, one thing I really like is not knowing a lot about a character.
Yeah.
So I am personally really interested in Ironheart. I don't know much about her. I know that we're going to get introduced to her prior to her show. We won't talk about where that is, just in case people don't want spoilers for that. But I'm really excited to see what they do with that character.
Are there any, to kind of conclude, are there any new characters that have been introduced since the original Avengers ended that you think are not coming back, or you would be fine if they didn't come back? For instance, Moon Knight. I thought it was a great show. I'd be okay if he didn't show up again.
Oh,
I want his story concluded.
Yeah, I do want the story.
If he doesn't show up in the MCU, I don't know. At this point, with the MCU being what it is,
so many characters.
I don't want it to be like, I don't really want disconnected characters. I kind of want, even if at some point he just makes a little difference in something. I don't think I want a bunch of disconnected characters. I'd like it being a huge conglomerate story.
Yeah, I think in terms of characters I wouldn't mind seeing again, or I wouldn't mind to not see again, probably the Eternals. It wasn't a bad movie. I don't think it was nearly as bad as a lot of people said it was.
Agreed.
I just didn't feel like it was as strong, and I feel like there were so many characters in that I didn't connect with.
So many characters.
The only one
I'd totally forgotten about it.
Oh yeah, the main character I walked out like I really like is Makari, and that was kind of like, okay, yep, that was it, and that's okay. Like not every movie do I have to love, but that one was one that I was especially.
Yes,
I liked other characters, but the other characters died. So
yeah,
so they're not coming back.
That for sure. Yeah, that would be one that I would be fine with.
I'm excited for Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Aquafina. She's amazing. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. Are there any other characters that you think?
I mean, with the way, I don't remember his character's name, but Kit Harington at the end of the Eternals.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for Blade, which is the person who was talking to him. I don't know. I know Kit Harington is very beloved by many people, but I haven't watched Game of Thrones, so I don't really care about him. But I think Whitman, I'm sure he's a significant character.
Dane Whitman,
yeah. And I'm just like, I looked up his character and I was like, okay, I don't know. It's one of those, it's a lack of knowledge, not necessarily a lack of interest. So it's like they could turn that around and make him someone really awesome who I really care about. But right now, meh.
Yeah.
So.
I want Elizabeth Olsen to get her like awesome. She needs a movie where she comes and is the hero and has like positive, or maybe not even the hero, but she has a positive storyline. At least part of it is positive. I need that in my life.
If they bring the twins back, maybe you can have that. If they bring them back to be
and White Vision is still out there somewhere too.
He is.
So she could actually potentially, especially in the multiverse realm, it doesn't have to be Scarlet Witch Elizabeth Olsen, I don't think, for you to be content.
Yeah. So. Well, and definitely, I mean, she's technically dead. No one has acted like she's dead. Even she and press were like, honestly, I assume I'm coming back.
Yeah, honestly, even the way she died, I was like, I am not convinced you are dead.
Oh yeah, force field. Like
it's not that hard to go, oh no, you're not. It's
Are there any characters that have died that you guys are hopeful will come back?
That's a good question.
That's another good question.
Because she'd be number one for me. And I don't, like I said, I don't really believe that she's dead, but I would want her to come back.
I know a lot of, I'll just speak for a lot of people. A lot of people want to see Tony Stark's character come back. Personally, I don't. I love him, but his story arc was so good and ended really well. And honestly, I feel like we might be mangling that a bit if they came back.
Black Widow and Natasha's sister, what was her name?
Yelena,
yeah. I know that movie was super controversial because Scarlett Johansson was like, hey Disney, we deserve our fair share. And that was good. That was great. I'm glad she did that, but she's probably not coming back. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and Yelena should come back in Thunderbolts. She's a big part of that team. So
I'm excited about that then, because that's
but yeah, I think
character I want.
I think Scarlet Witch is probably the biggest character I want to come back. If not also her twins. I'd love to see the older versions of them.
Does Hugh Jackman's Wolverine count? Because
I think you could. It's a multiverse saga.
I think currently in the MCU, but what I would not give to see Hugh Jackman come back as Wolverine, even if it's just for one movie.
Oh yeah. Oh well, it's the multiverse saga. They can bring back whoever they want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Recast him after. I don't care.
Yep.
That would be fantastic.
So to go to your point, you could bring, I mean, I don't know, multiverse wise, even just bringing back Pietro, Wanda's sister, brother, whatever. I mean, that could be something beneficial as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm excited for this next phase. I think that they're doing a lot to fix some of the issues they had in the earlier eras of the MCU, namely making it a lot more diverse. I appreciate having more than one female superhero to look up to.
Yes.
I I appreciate that quite a bit. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, diversity, there's some really good representation across a lot of these and across a lot of different varieties of diversity too.
Yeah.
so I'm stoked. I'm like, we have 5 whole disabled characters. This is insane.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also like they have some teen heroes now and some younger teen, like we've always had like the Peter Parker,
Yeah.
but they have some younger teens.
'Cause
And
you've got America Chavez, you've got Miss Marvel.
you've
Those,
got
I think, are the youngest ones.
some
but
kid involved.
Yeah, America Chavez is the actress
Okay.
who plays her is 15. I think
Yeah.
she was
Oh,
13
wow.
or 14 when they shot the
Wow.
movie. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
So next up we need some kick butt grandparent characters. I mean, they had that in Lightyear. They had it in Lightyear. They can have it in the MCU.
I mean, not that it ended well for him, but I would count Professor X in that category.
Yes.
I think that
Yes.
makes sense.
It didn't
Yeah.
end well for him, but
No,
he's
no, it
very
didn't.
grandfatherly.
No, you're right. You're right.
You just haven't seen that movie. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, and the X-Men being a part of Marvel is weird to me too, because it just seems so separated to me.
but
I
honestly,
think-
it doesn't to, and you might be saying the same thing. It doesn't to me because in so many of the comic books, they're just all intermingled so much, and it's honestly weird when you read a story and there's like all this intermingling of X-Men and Fantastic Four and Avengers, and then you go see a movie and you're like, oh, where are those people? So,
Yeah, that's fair. I think what they'll end up doing is recasting a lot of the people
yeah.
from the X-Men franchise just because they want to have their own spin on it, especially being able to incorporate all of those comic book connections that they just weren't able to because Fox
Yeah.
had the rights.
Which makes
So,
sense. It would make sense.
Oh,
for
yeah.
them to
Yeah.
redo X-Men.
It'd be weird. I mean, the
Maybe
only
in
one
a couple of years though, because it's just so recent.
well, and I mean, honestly, it really isn't. We haven't had an X-Men movie in a while. It feels like we have.
2016 was the most recent one.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that was later than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think in phase 6, we're gonna get some X-Men stuff. Some of that
Okay.
unannounced stuff I think will be X-Men related. Because like Secret Wars does involve a lot of X-Men. And so it'd be interesting to
Yeah.
see if
I like a
that
lot of
plays
the
into it.
people who played X-Men. I wonder if
Yeah, but they're just not of the age to do it. I mean, you're
Yeah.
talking movies that were genuinely made 20 plus years ago.
yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right,
it just
you're right.
wouldn't work for them to come back, except for
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman. I will always say that one. So
Uh,
Yeah. But
Okay, well, I think that wraps up our what's next for Marvel. Check out the blog for streaming suggestions on Disney, Netflix, Hulu, and more. Check out the blog for more. Thanks for following along.